direct from the beautiful Inland Blue Studios. Honey, this is the Nerdlife Crisis podcast with your host, that fine-ass Chris Thayer, that beautiful Steve Hale, and that big hunker chunk of meat, Ron Milts. Woo! Mama's hot up in here. Let's get this party started.
All right, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerdlife Crisis podcast. Here with your host today, Chris Thayer, and I'm Ron Milts.
That's it.
That's
all
tonight.
you get.
Just it's a hot Chris on Ron. What? So
I don't know if I'm up for the hot Chris on Ron.
Todd is still on location. I don't know where Todd is. I think he got mowed down in gang crossfire or something.
Yeah.
And then Steve his house has the chicken pox right now.
Now, I was wondering, how is that possible? Don't they have vaccines for chicken? Like, kids don't get chicken pox anymore, do they?
They do. But I mean, look, you can get vaccinated, but that doesn't mean you're immune to it. Like, it's that whole.
Well, I was going to ask Steve, like, what are you, an anti-vaxxer? That doesn't seem like his MO.
No, I think what happened was his some woman brought a kid to daycare. And so the boys were at daycare with this kid.
Right.
And
I don't remember what age the kids get that shot.
I think Ronald Andrew may or may
think
not.
It's pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, he may or may not. Either way, we all made an adult decision for
Right.
Steve to not come tonight,
Right.
because I don't want my kid getting chicken pox.
No, and it's not. Yeah, you're right. It's not 100% effective. You still can get it.
It's not, and I'm a little worried about, like, we're all gonna be staying in Comic-Con together. I'm gonna bring that shit home, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume I'm gonna have to go through the clean room. You know,
Right.
they're gonna have to hose me down like 12 Monkeys style.
Well, there's a show called Containment on right now, and it's kind of freaking me out.
Yeah,
Thinking about the chicken pox.
I try to stay away from shows like that. Although I will watch the shit out of that Dustin Hoffman movie, Outbreak.
That's good, right?
I love that movie. The monkey in that movie entertains the hell out of me. So there's that great moment at the end when Cuba Gooding Jr. shoots the monkey when it's playing with the little girl, and I laugh every time because I'm like, they're trying to make this suspenseful, but it's like, it's the cutest monkey.
Right.
It's like the monkey from Friends, and you're like, oh, that little girl's playing with that monkey. Like, that's adorable. But yeah, man, it's one of those things that it doesn't scare me. So
Now, I don't remember. Do they do the slow-mo where the monkey dies? Like in Project X?
it was not the Project X pickup. No, it was little Marcel. They like shoot him and he does a little fall, like he does that little monkey fall that they're like, the trainer's like, fall Marcel, and he like falls.
Does he get
over.
back up and clap?
I bet after the shot he
After
did.
the shot?
They threw him like a fucking granola bar or whatever it is they feed.
Yeah, what do they feed monkeys? I don't even know.
I would say bananas, but I don't.
I guess it depends on where the monkey is and who's the owner, because maybe they give him a beer. You know?
If we were in like the
Sri Lanka,
Southeast Asia or something like that, it'd be like a cigarette and a shot of whiskey, you know.
Yep.
So, well, without
send all hate mail
to Steve Hale. So Chris and I, it's been a while since just him and I have podcasted together, and we have made an agreement that we are not going to fight tonight like we did last time.
Did we? I don't even remember.
We had a complaint that it was essentially you and I just arguing for an hour.
Yeah. No, I'm on vacation, so
yeah, man.
I don't have a lot. I don't even let the Facebook bother me at this point.
I just whatever.
Because we've talked about that, and for a while I got really, like, toward the end of the school year, I got real angry because I was just end of the school year and you get on edge. But it's like summertime and I rarely even respond anymore. Like I'll more do it now just to mess with people.
Yeah, if you notice, the Facebook page has not been regularly updated because Chris has not been on Facebook. I post like maybe 4 times a week. Chris is the regular updater on Facebook. So
there hasn't been a lot to.
It's kind of been dead.
Yeah,
like, it's
not
a
a lot
dead
to talk
time of
about.
year. So I mean, we got a little bit of stuff to go over here.
But as far as like new announcements and things, it hasn't been like it was a couple months ago. Like every day there was a big new announcement.
Well, this weekend should be interesting because we've got Star Wars Celebration Europe. So
and Comic-Con next week.
And Comic-Con's the week after. So I know we say this every year.
Isn't it next week?
Yeah, it's
okay.
We'll be there Thursday, man. I know we say this every year.
I'll be there Wednesday.
Oh, I'm gonna be there. Where are you gonna stay? You gonna drive back home Wednesday night?
Yeah, it's only 3 hours, so
fuck, dude.
I may go down during the day and just hang out in San Diego for a little bit.
Okay.
I'm thinking I might take Phoebe.
Do you have a
3
ticket
hours,
for her?
Well, kids go free.
They need a ticket though.
No. Kids under 12 can go free.
They just walk right in the door?
Right. You have to go and check them in, but they go free.
So what
You
if I
didn't know that, huh?
What if I dressed up and we did like the bassinet thing?
I think you're short enough. We could probably pull it off.
I'm sure I could. I would need to shave, I assume, but
Probably.
I think we could do that, man,
I think
because
we could
nobody
do it.
questions a baby. Like
Nope.
nobody questions a baby.
Nope.
So
No, I had no idea.
really,
And but the older girls, they can't go because they're both over 18, and they don't have tickets. But I figured I would maybe take her down on Wednesday. I'm debating. I don't know if I'm going to go down Wednesday. It seems like a long way. I'm going to drive 6 hours or 4 hours, whatever.
and preview night's packed, dude.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
like it used to be, where it used to go on preview night and you'd get down there. That's why I stopped buying preview night, because I was like, it's
I
just
didn't know that.
It's like a regular day now. Like everybody's here for 3 hours.
Then
you
maybe
know?
I won't go
It's just
because that's lame. I'm not going
Yeah.
to go all the way down there for 3 hours of the same shit.
pretty much. I mean,
And there's no panels or anything really going on that looked good.
I mean, they might be doing some Wednesday night preview of some show or something
Yeah,
like that.
That's all I saw. There was like it wasn't even like Marvel or DC. It was like ABC or Fox or
They
something.
generally do that. Like they show some pilots that are, you know,
Yeah.
and every once in a while you get like a gem that like everybody blows up on. But it's
Yeah.
like, for me, preview night, I remember we would go down, we would get there Wednesday afternoon, and then the line to get tickets was always like,
Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
right?
'cause
Like
they
now,
came in
like
the mail.
badges are already here. We just walk
Yeah.
right in. Now, you know what that means though? That means their line to actually get in will be legit.
Maybe.
I'm just like, I'm a 10:15er at this point, so
Yeah.
it's like,
Was it open at 9?
I think 9:30. So
Yeah, I don't think we need to be there right when we got a couple days.
I'm not a con exclusives guy anymore.
No.
Like I'm not there for like, I'm not gonna rush up and get, like, there's nothing I collect that I need to be there day one.
Right.
At, you know, and some of these people wait at 6 in the morning to get their shit.
No,
It's insane.
I ain't collecting shit.
Yeah.
I was just gonna go because I didn't think anybody went on preview night. But if
Oh,
it's
no,
busy,
it's packed. It's just
I
like a
ain't going
normal
down
day.
there for 3 hours.
It's just like a normal day at this point.
So maybe
man.
I'll take her on Saturday.
Maybe. I mean, I'll be in Hall H all day on Saturday, so
Oh well, that would be a good time for me to take her then.
yeah. I mean, I won't. I mean, I might catch up with you guys at
and
dinner
then
or something.
I can look around and see what's there. So what's in Hall H that you're going to?
Marvel's coming back this year.
Are they?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. DC's going to be there on Saturday.
Wow.
We're already planning sort of the all day Friday. We're going to do it in shifts, wait in line.
Oh,
So
man, I don't. Oh.
I look, man.
You know who's not going to be in Hall H on Saturday?
Chris Thayer.
Yeah, I don't care.
Well,
if
you
they-
wouldn't be there on Friday night to get your wristband, so
No, I'll be at a gig, at a really well-paying gig, I might add.
you got to take them when they come,
Oh,
right?
dude, I didn't realize we were making what we're making on this Friday gig.
Yeah.
I was like,
Now, which group
Damn.
which group are you
it's
taking?
the Big Papa.
So, for those of you guys that don't know, Chris has a new project that he's working on, a new musical group called the Storybook Villians.
Yeah, man.
Which we were just listening to some of the stuff, and I think even though he's already said don't, I think I'm gonna splice in just like maybe 30 seconds of a track right here. Okay, so that's right where it was. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit of 30 seconds there, just to give you a taste.
Yeah.
But it's not fully mixed yet, but it's got a really interesting sound, man.
It's different, and I've been saying all along that I really kind of had a moment when BB King died last year or the year before, whenever it was.
Did you say a movement?
No, I had maybe
Like a
that
bowel
too.
movement?
No, man, I was moved, but I didn't actually have a movement.
Oh, got it.
No, you know, I thought about what I'd been doing, and there's nothing wrong with any of the stuff I've done in the past. I really am proud of what I've done, but I felt like, you know, B.B. King had the philosophy that you take the music somewhere new, and I didn't feel like I'd really done that. And, you know, that's how the music stays alive.
Right.
If you just copy what's out there, music dies. I think it's a big part of what's going on right now with live music is everybody's doing tribute bands and cover bands.
Right.
And the music scene is dying because we're not getting anything new.
I would say I would agree with part of that. I think the thing I would not agree with, only from the standpoint of I think there was oversaturation in the marketplace.
Right.
With too many bands, it sounded exactly the same.
Right.
And now,
well, that's my point, though.
The stuff that's bubbling up is more interesting, I think, now.
Right.
So,
and I think that's the reaction of what's been happening is people want something new. And for me, being so deeply rooted in the blues world, I had to find a way to take the music somewhere new. And I guess my idea was, you know, I've been playing songs that sound like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf for the last 10 years.
right.
You know, and I'm not going to be better than Muddy Waters at doing Muddy Waters.
No.
There's already been one. Since Muddy Waters in the 50s and 60s, there's been a lot of shit happen in music. I mean, just looking at like the 70s, you had the disco era, you have heavy metal, you have, you know, the 80s hair bands.
Right.
I mean, a lot has happened. Rage Against the Machine has happened since then.
Speaking of that,
No doubt.
Chris has a great Rage Against the Machine cover that's not on the first album, but they just
It's actually, we're going to give it away for free
nice.
for anybody who pre-orders the record through our GoFundMe campaign. And
Yeah.
I'll put a link on our Facebook.
Yeah, it was really funny because as soon as it came on, he's like, "You just have to wait." And it came on, I'm like, "Oh my god, I totally know what this is."
Yeah.
And then it came on, I'm like, "All right, that's pretty dope."
Yeah,
So,
and it's very different than the original, but it's still enough that you go, I like this tune.
Right,
I know
right,
this.
right.
You know, what is this? So anyway, the idea was, you know, let's incorporate the sounds and the things that have happened in the world in the music since Muddy Waters.
yeah.
And,
Well, I think what's
not
interesting,
shy away from it.
I think what's interesting is the stuff that like you've done with Big Papa. It always has sort of. It's definitely got like an up tempo,
Right.
bluesy feel. You know, this is definitely. It's got some really interesting elements to it that feel a lot more like if you took like a hard rock band or even like a Rage Against the Machine and you really like they were more bluesy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's actually some of the best harmonies I've heard out
Well,
of
and
you
that's
in a
it.
long
That's
time,
what
you
I
know?
always would say is like I want to have something that sounds like if Muddy Waters went and sang with Rage Against the Machine, and you had like Earth, Wind, and Fire doing the
Right?
background vocals.
Like, and that's
you know?
it's really funny because I'm listening, and we were listening,
But with
to,
the Allman Brothers playing a slide behind it. You know, it's like, why not incorporate all these things that have happened over the last 30, 40 years?
Yeah,
you
and-
know,
and
and
you
nobody's doing it.
No, it's definitely not. Look, there's certain elements of it, and I don't know how the album's gonna fall out yet. I know that you're still talking about
Right.
because right now it's about 17 tracks.
Yeah, and
which
we're thinking of throwing. It's 16 songs with a couple of interludes.
and there's like that 1 minute interlude on that one.
And we got another one that we're gonna probably put in somewhere else, but. I mean, basically, you're looking at 16 songs.
So,
it's a long record.
It is, definitely. But in that 16 songs, there's some absolute gems in there. And I think for anybody that's interested in hearing something a little different, you might want to check it out. So that was just a little plug for my buddy Chris, only because we talk about stuff all the time, but it's so funny. We tend to focus on the nerd stuff, and we don't shine as much light on ourselves as we should from time to time.
Not really.
And
I think they're among us in the group. We're doing some cool stuff.
yeah, there's always something interesting going on,
Right,
you know?
right.
And it's like, you know, it's one of those things where if you're not going to use your own platform to like talk about it a little bit,
yeah.
why the hell not, you know? All right, so with that being said, we got a lot to talk about here. The first thing is we got to talk about Pokemon Go because this shit has blown up.
Like the world has gone Pokemon Go crazy.
Well, I think this is the beginning of a new trend.
Man, I hope so. It's pretty cool.
Well, because it's like the idea of virtual reality is something we've been promised for years and years and years.
Yes.
But this is augmented reality, which is
Right.
a really people weren't didn't realize that this was coming down the pipe, and it has been coming down the pipe for a while. And this is the first of what's going to be many of these types of games.
And you're going to see a lot of them now.
Well, and
because of the success of this thing.
And this shit is
like
blown up.
They crashed all the servers. It keeps crashing.
Well, they've been slowly adding countries in, and they just added Germany in. They've got like 12 million active players, man.
I'm not doing it, dude.
Have you not tried it yet?
I have not tried it at all. I'll watch you do it.
It's a fucking blast, dude.
I'm not doing it because you got me sucked into this goddamn Clash of Clans, and
so
I'm the only motherfucker playing this game.
You are left. You are.
I'm the only one. I don't know any of these fools in the game anymore.
Well, you got to feel like this with Clash of Clans. I started easily 2 years before you did,
right?
And I'm pretty much on to Clash Royale now. Is what my game is.
Yeah, I'm ready to delete it.
I gave up. It just at a certain point, I'm like, this is not fun anymore. They changed the game. I'm not enjoying it. Now, Pokemon Go, I'm enjoying the shit out of when I can log on.
Right.
The servers are constantly crashing. It's.
I think the best part of Pokemon Go is all these assholes who are like dying and falling off of cliffs and getting hit by cars and wrecking their cars. Like literally, you look through the Facebook feed on the right, and every third one is some asshole who has gotten knifed in a park because he's playing Pokemon Go. Or
my favorite story thus far. I've got two of them. My buddy.
It's so crazy.
My buddy is a cop in Fontana.
Oh Jesus!
And the Fontana PD is a recharge station.
What?
He goes. They literally had to have a meeting with all the cops because they didn't have a fucking clue why these people were wandering around the police station at 1:30 in the morning. They're like, why are there all these people here? So, yeah.
Why would they? What? How does that even work?
Well, I think the designers designate places, all right, and
What a crazy
but
place.
they're randomly like I'm sure they're random. Now, some of them, like I know the Westboro Baptist Church got designated as a
That's hilarious.
as a gym, so people go there to try and train their Pokemon. But I mean, there's. The game itself, I find it really interesting, especially because Disneyland is a fucking hot spot.
Oh,
like
wow.
there's craziness. Like
now, do they own any of it?
No, that's Nintendo. Nintendo owns it.
Disney, but they chose Disneyland, huh?
It's places where people generally go to congregate or like the important spots. So like bars,
what about
churches.
what a crazy way to enhance your Disneyland experience.
It's funny is, and the missus comes up to me like a week ago, and she's like, you've got to explain this to me. Like, all the young people on my Facebook feed are blowing up with this Pokemon Go.
Right.
And she's like, and it's so funny because there's this line of demarcation, and Steve is definitely on the other side of the line. And what I think is funny because he's like, Mister, let's go climb a mountain. Let's go get outdoors. I mean, it's like, don't fucking play video games outdoors, you know? Right. But it's like all the fucking old folk that don't get shit like this on my Facebook feed are...
they're ripping on it.
This is stupid. All the young people are like, this is the greatest thing that has ever been invented. Now, on the flip side of that, I think people are like the standard idiot nature of human beings is coming into play.
Well, and I just made a quick list as I was flipping through. You had several people who've been robbed.
Oh, that's
playing it.
Well, one of the things they said is like don't do it yourself because these guys know essentially where you're coming and they're gonna ambush you for your smartphone.
Right.
There's some people getting mugged because they're stupid and they're going out and playing Pokemon Go at 1 a.m.
Dude, it was like Central Park. Some fool got stabbed multiple times in Central Park playing Pokemon in the middle of the night.
There was somebody that happened to.
Two dudes just fell off a cliff.
In San Diego. They fell 75 foot off a bluff in San
what
Diego.
The hell are you guys doing? And crashing your car. Are you kidding me?
Trying to slow down on the freeway to catch a Pokemon, probably not the best idea. First off, you can catch that Pokemon at 70 miles an hour. We've already proven that. A friend of mine did it on the freeway the other day when he was a passenger. That it does not take much effort, but the absolute stupidity of some people are killing me.
It's insane.
But I've heard you know what? I've heard some really good positive stories off of it as well, which, I mean, the simple fact that people are going outside their house, you know? And
yeah, but here's my problem with it. It's like somebody posted a meme that's making fun of the fact that, you know, nobody complained when millions of people were playing Candy Crush. But all of a sudden, you got people outside exercising, playing this game, and you think it's stupid. Well, okay, but you're still not interacting with people. Let's be realistic.
That's not true.
Come on, you're looking at your phone.
Well, here's the thing. You haven't played the game yet, so you don't quite understand it. So your GPS takes you to a point, and then when you get to that point, there's generally other Pokemon Go players there that are looking for the thing, and they'll send you to where, like, oh, hey, like, I've interacted with a bunch of people, with kids. Like, well, I was out at dinner the other night, and there's somebody inside here in this restaurant, and I went to the back of the restaurant, and there's this little kid, and he looks at me. I'm all, you looking for him? He goes, yeah. I go, what is it? And he's like, oh, it's a rat. I'm all, it's just a rat? Okay, no problem. So it's like, but it's like that idea of that we both know we're playing this game. We're in the know. But then there's
secret society.
Here's the thing, though.
Players.
There's now teams as well. So and then certain territory, it's like, oh, I'm not in that team, man. I can't go to that.
This is where the game starts to get a little hokey for me.
It's fun,
it's kind of what you were talking about with the Clash of Clans, and it's the same problem I had when you try and go online and play games like Halo, in the multiplayer. After a while, it's like people get so good at it, or the rules change so much that it just becomes difficult to not get frustrated with it, unless you spend your whole life doing it. So basically, I'm talking to myself at this point because Ron has walked out of the room. I'm not sure if he's coming back because he's watching the man cub out there. All right, this is some exciting podcast stuff right here. So why don't I take this opportunity to talk about my new webcomic. I figured I didn't have enough going on, so I would throw together kind of a cool little fun thing that would come out once a week. It's called The Big Time, and it's basically a webcomic about four guys in a band.
By the way, I could hear all of this.
I know.
So
I just didn't know what else to talk about because I was done talking. I can't vamp on Pokemon Go.
You could have. I could have talked about Pokemon Go. You could have told an interesting story.
I don't have any stories about Pokemon Go. What do you want me to do? But I do think the webcomic is really cool, and if you want to check it out,
and what's the title?
It's called The Big Time.
It's basically like about a rock band, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like totally, new ground.
Yeah.
But I do think it's. In my many years of playing with different musicians, you start to see some things develop, especially with types. Like drummers have certain characteristics that only drummers have.
Please explain.
Drummers are typically very weird.
Please explain further. Give me examples without naming people.
Yeah, that's hard because I don't know if any of them are going to listen.
I doubt
it. They tend to be like really... like weird things will set them off. Like I've known some over the years that like all out of the blue, they'll be like totally laid back. And then all of a sudden they'll just like turn on a dime and weird things will make them like lose their shit. And they'll become enraged over like, why are you so mad about that?
Please give me an example. Tell a story.
I can't.
Yes, you can. That's part of the fun of having the podcast.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
By the way,
and drummers are always late.
The amount of lying that's happening right now is so thick. Do you really feel like somebody's going to get hurt if you told a story?
I don't want to. That's the other thing is I don't want any of my musician friends to know that or think that it's based on them.
Of course,
it's not really.
It's flattery, my son. Flattery.
But with drummers, they're always the last one there,
right?
Which is really it pisses off everybody because they're supposed to be the first one set up, and you set up around them
exactly.
And they're always the one that rolls in like 5 minutes before you're supposed to play.
And you're like, really, asshole? Like we're waiting for you to get here to set up your kit.
Yeah, and bass players have a tendency to be like that too. Now I've been lucky. With my buddy Steve, he's usually the first one there,
right?
But bass players are a weird group too because they're always like super mellow. Like almost every bass player I know is the most mellow person I've ever met.
Okay.
Steve's like that. The guy that's playing with the Villains is probably one of the most mellow cats you'll ever meet.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, there's certain things. Obviously, guitar players tend to be a lot more analytical.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah. A lot of the guitar players I know are very, very intelligent to the point where they're really a little odd. They're like they're smarter than they should be, but they're not necessarily motivated.
Okay.
So they're kind of that slacker vibe. A lot of the guitar players.
So our lead singers, are they generally our divas?
Totally the divas,
yeah.
And they're all focused on appearance, and I mean, there's some things.
Who's generally the slob in a band? Is there generally one guy?
Drummers are like that. Drummers are pretty slob, and that's the thing is they're back there sweating. They're probably working harder physically than anybody else on stage.
Right.
So they tend like, and I don't want to name names, but one of the drummers I play with, he has a tendency of when he shows up and sets up all of his cases. Okay, I'll just say it. Ray from the Big Papa Band. I love him. I've been playing with him for over 10 years. He sets up his drums, but he puts all of his cases where I'm trying to set up every single time. And I joke with him about it, to where I started putting my cases where he's supposed to set up now. So it's just like running joke. And it's not like animosity. I think he just like has a ton of shit to set up, and you don't have a ton of space. But
nothing like a little passive-aggressive behavior
that's
to
really
like
what
lighten
it
the
became.
mood, right?
Yeah, that's what it became. So we have that going on now.
Nice, man.
So yeah, that kind of stuff.
So basically, this new weekly comic is gonna take a look at sort of the ins and outs of being in a band.
Yeah, and it's not.
What's the name of the band?
They are the Barstool Bastards.
Nice. That's actually a pretty good name.
That was gonna be the Storybook Villains name.
Oh, okay.
And we came upon the Storybook Villains, and that went out. So. Yeah, I mean it's a fun little project.
All
I mean it's not something that I'm taking incredibly seriously, but I do like that each page has to be a self-contained story within the larger story, because you don't want to be in the middle of a conversation and it's like, what the hell happened? Every page, and that's been the challenge. You don't have 24 pages to tell the story, or even 10 pages. You have one page to get that moment of the story out. So,
all right,
it's
awesome.
cool.
Well, that takes us to a new show that we've been watching, Roadies. We've been watching the show
Roadies is so dope, dude.
Right?
And here's the thing. I've always been a fan of Cameron Crowe. I think his movies are really sentimental and a little schmaltzy.
He's got a sweet voice.
Very sweet.
And not every movie that he does is fantastic. I mean,
No.
Almost Famous is absolutely a home run.
Right.
If you like
Did he do Vanilla Sky? Was that him? Or was that
did, but that was based upon a like a Spanish movie.
Yeah, and that was definitely a departure for him. I think he was trying to get away from his formula of these sort of heartwarming.
I think he was Jerry Maguire
stories.
as well.
Right.
Almost Famous. I'm trying to think of like.
Say Anything.
Yeah,
one of my favorite movies of all time. John Cusack.
Elizabeth Town's a pretty good film as well. It's not great about the tennis
see
player,
that.
Yeah,
I did see that.
So, but this is his first attempt, I think, at television.
So fucking good, dude.
I think these roadies are far too pretty.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's be realistic. If I want to look at roadies, why would I watch a TV show about roadies?
I'm just saying that I know a lot of IATSE guys, and they do not look anything like these people on this show.
Of course. It's television. It's a heightened reality. There are some quirky looking people in there, but not many. Not many.
Not as many as I've seen on the road. Or,
no, there's a reason that most roadies become roadies.
This is true.
And nothing against them. You need those people. They're crucial to the operation.
Oh yeah, man.
But they're not in the job for their appearance.
No, not in the least.
It's for their skills.
Right.
Whereas bands tend to be more appearance oriented.
Well, they have to be. It's part of selling it.
Yeah, I mean that's it. You're selling an image as well as the music.
Right.
So anyway, the thing I really love, there's great characters. Every episode seems to come back and have a nice little bow on the end of it.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a lot of fun. I really don't have any real problems with it. I know it's going to be kind of cheesy. It's not going to be high art.
No.
But I don't care. I love every sentimental moment of it.
But you don't need it to be. Like that's
I got plenty of shows for that shit.
Well, and I mean it's like when you think about all the shows that we watch that are like high art,
and edgy, and
it's like at a certain point, let's just watch something that could be fun for once,
And but there's such heart to it. It's not just a cheesy show. Like there are genuinely beautiful moments in it. Like this last episode. I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically, you have Luke Wilson, who's like the main production manager or whatever. He's like the main dude.
And Carla Gugino's in it.
Oh yes.
And it just for her alone is worth tuning in, right?
Big fan of her. And he's got this once a year girl that he visits in Atlanta, and he just decides, she sees him and she tells him, "Hey, I love you," and he's like, "You know what? I really love this girl. And, you know, you have these really beautiful moments by the end of the episode, it all feels good.
Right,
you know, because you know they can't be together.
Well,
he's a touring guy.
You never know. I mean, they could figure something out.
You know, but I mean, that life is not for everybody.
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah,
not
I
even
mean,
a
it's
little
nice
bit.
when you have somebody in town, you can come see him, and that's all good. But being out on the road for months at a time is you take a special kind of person to not have that anchor at home, those roots. You have to be able to just be on the wind.
Yeah.
And you know, that's definitely not somewhere that a relationship generally thrives. That's why musicians tend to not do well in relationships.
Right. Well, I mean,
know?
especially because it's like you're on this intense experience,
right,
for a short period of time,
right,
and you're really away from home especially if you're on a big tour like
really?
They're supposed to be on the show.
Yeah,
you know, it's like there's no contact with the outside world.
Yeah,
you're basically with the people you're with, and that's it for however long.
You know, the one problem I have with the show are the cameos. Like this last episode, you had Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham's cool from Fleetwood Mac. He was great, but it's like this whole episode felt like they wedged him in there for the sake of having him in there.
Yeah.
But having said that, they still had some really nice moments where he's backstage and he's singing and playing a song, and you can see the Roadies are just like, this is one of those moments that you'll remember forever, you know. And the main girl, Roadie, got her camera out and she's filming it. You know, and she's like, you know what? You have all these experiences, and sometimes you just have to have a souvenir, you know? And for that moment alone, it was worth having him on the episode, even though I know it was just a chance to work in his buddies. You know?
Right.
Because, you know, he's tied in with all of that whole 70s music scene. I mean, he's married to Nancy Wilson. Wait, which one's Nancy? Nancy's the blonde, right? Right. So he's married to Nancy Wilson. And he was a rock writer when he was a kid. So he's tied in with that whole community. So you can expect that you're going to see more of those kind of cameos. Now, did you watch Vinyl?
Yeah, that show was...
Vinyl got canned.
Already?
It's gone. Yeah.
After one season?
One season. Now, here's the difference. Now, I liked Vinyl, but there was not one character on that whole goddamn show that was a decent person.
There's no season 2 on that show.
No season 2. They canned it. The reviews were not good enough, and the viewership was not good enough.
Well,
I think there was nobody on the show that was a decent human being.
That took a real left turn.
Really?
About
really
5 episodes.
Well, when he killed the Buck, what was his name? Buck Rogers or whatever?
Yeah. All of a sudden, this is like Goodfellas. What the hell, right?
Right.
You know?
It was sort of fun. And then it got really dark, and I think the show might have turned around if they had another season. But again, there was nobody on that show that, as a person, I liked.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching the train wreck of it all, but I didn't care about any of the characters. And I think that's the difference is with this show, I care about every single one of these characters.
Right.
Like, I like every one of them. Even the annoying dude who's the bad guy in the story, because he's the corporate stooge who comes in and try and, you know, make them more financially sound. Even he's somewhat likable. You know, they give everybody a moment that they're vulnerable and human. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm going on and on. It's such a great show. If you haven't seen it, you gotta check out Roadies.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of funny though. Every roadie that I know hates the show.
Oh, of course they do.
Because they're like, that's not how it really is. And
No.
I'm like, motherfucker.
No one wants to watch how it really is.
Exactly. No one wants to watch somebody do a job.
Right.
It's like,
and it's not a fun thing to watch. You're like climbing the rigging and you're sweaty and gross and you know, you eat shitty food out of craft services.
It's like the perfect example is Law and Order. Being a cop is not like Law and Order.
No.
You don't show up, make quippy remarks, and then move about your day.
Right.
You know, and it's always wrapped up over the course
Right.
of what seems like every trial in Law and Order seems like it's wrapped up in 5 days.
Right.
Like from start to finish. Like
Yeah.
we go to trial
It's
right
not
away.
months and months and months.
Which is what it should be. Which is
Right.
what it is, you know.
You should have with Law and Order, if it wasn't, you know, you would come back after 8 episodes and get the trial.
No, it wouldn't even be that. It would be like that's when they would do the arraignment.
Right.
And then season 4, you'd finally get to that case.
Right.
Like we'd go to trial on it.
But that's not the way it's set up. And I understand that. I watch Law and Order with that in mind, that this is not true to life. And this show is not. No way is this anywhere close to true to life.
Yeah, but it's fun. I mean, and I think that's the big
And I don't
thing.
care.
I'm kind of bummed. I did not know Vinyl was canceled. I'm sitting here reading it while we're talking, going, oh, man.
Yeah, I was a little bummed. I wanted to see where they were going to go with it. Again, I don't care about any of these characters because they're all kind of assholes.
Yeah, but it was like they wrapped up the first season in like a nice tidy bow,
Right,
and I was like, cool, we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's see where this goes now.
Right,
But part of it was probably just too expensive to produce.
Maybe.
It had a lot of big actors
it's
in it.
period stuff too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not expensive period stuff, but you still got to come up with everything that's 70s.
Yeah. Well.
You know.
Oh well.
Finding all that polyester's tough.
Well, let's transition to something we ended last episode with, which is Batman Superman,
All right.
the extended edition.
I've watched it twice
As have I.
since it came out.
So I posted this on the Facebook
The extended
page.
cut,
Right.
not the original.
Well, I've seen the
theater.
theatrical cut twice, and now I've seen the extended cut
I only
twice.
saw it once.
It is, and let me just begin by saying exactly what I said on the Facebook page. I owe the director whose name
Zack Snyder?
Thank you, Zack Snyder.
I want you to recognize I came up with that.
The minute I looked at you, like we made eye contact, it left my head because you sucked it from my brain into your mouth
All
there,
right.
which sounds gross. But the
Oh my God! Not to cut you off. Are you watching Brain Dead?
I'm not.
Holy shit, that show is funny.
Is that the one with the slugs, the alien slugs?
Yes,
And the,
it's so stupid. But it's like, how do you explain the ass backward political bullshit in DC? Oh, of course, they're all taken over by alien bugs.
body snatchers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There we go. Fair
It's
enough.
freaking hilarious.
I'll have to check it out. I'll
Yeah,
have to
check it out. I mean, it's, again, not high art. It's
Okay.
stupid, but I enjoy it. Anyway, back to
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
I owe Zack Snyder an apology because the Batman Superman Ultimate Cut, which is the movie this guy wanted to make from the get-go, is a much better film than the movie we got at the movie theater.
I agree.
It's a much better
And I
film.
wasn't sure if I just, because I didn't remember the first time I saw it.
It was more ambitious.
Right.
And
Well, there were a lot of things missing.
yeah.
A lot of important plot points.
Right. And like the movie flowed much better. And the other thing was
It was still too long.
it didn't feel long to me,
It
though.
felt a little long to me, but the original theatrical version felt long to me.
Here's my complaint.
Like, there was shit in there that...
My only complaint is literally the last hour of the film is like nothing but action for an hour straight.
Right.
Once Batman and Superman start fighting, you were
It's
literally in an action movie for an hour. After
Yeah.
what you were the previous 2 hours, you were in a movie that was sort of slow and contemplating.
Right.
In this extended cut, but it's like fucking interesting.
Right.
You know, a lot of setup going on, and,
Right.
and a lot of interesting moments, and a lot of exploration of sort of what it means to be a superhero. You know, for these characters, and not only that, but in the movie version, it felt like Batman was, because so much of Superman stuff got cut in out of the that you're like, oh, this is Batman's story. Like, we're really watching Batman's view on
I totally
Superman.
agree.
Whereas in the Ultimate Edition, Superman is the obvious good guy and Batman's the obvious bad guy.
Right.
And so and
even Alfred points it out.
right. And you
know?
really get that sense. And
Yeah.
then I still have 2 major complaints, which is the Martha moment still doesn't work.
So stupid.
It does not work. Like, you get to that moment, you're like, but the rest of the movie is so ambitious and so much better. I forgive that moment a lot more
Right.
in the Ultimate Edition than I did in the theatrical cut. Because in the theatrical cut and the Doomsday stuff, the build up to that, because so much more of Lex Luthor's machinations get put back into the film, that you're like, oh, he's been playing a long game here.
Right.
Like, you think from the movie.
No, this has been going on for a while.
Right, and they add in the whole the woman that's supposed to be the African woman that tells the false story.
Right.
Her stuff basically is completely cut from the film.
I thought so.
Yeah, she only has one moment in the film,
And that's crucial.
right? It becomes such a big part of the movie.
Right.
They put in a bunch of the stuff back in from the desert sequence with Lois. Like, it explains why Superman shows up. You know, they're basically going to drone strike Lois
Right.
and kill her, and Superman shows up.
Now
to
that was
save her.
completely cut.
Gone.
What?
All that was gone.
Right, because he just like pops in.
Right.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
And
I
then-
forgot that wasn't in the original cut.
And
That's stupid.
all of Lex's goons, those guys from the beginning that in the
Right.
theatrical cut show up basically 2 other times. They're peppered throughout the movie,
Right.
constantly doing stuff. So you see Lex working his magic a
Yes.
little more.
They interact with the black lady
Yeah.
as well.
They kill her, in fact.
Yeah,
They kill her, and then they...
Spoiler alert.
Well, yeah, and then when they capture Lois, like, suddenly you're like, oh, like, these guys, like, they're bad people,
Right.
And it's like so much that's when you get to the point where he sets them up to fight each other. He basically already knows they're not going to kill each other.
Right.
He's like, I'm going
It's
to...
about ruining them.
Right.
It's not about killing one another.
You're hoping... I think Lex is hoping one of them dies.
Right.
Like, whatever.
It's still going to ruin them
Right.
if one of them dies.
But the whole Doomsday thing, he's like, neither way, I knew that this was going to be necessary,
Yeah.
And so it
and he
doesn't-
knows Batman's not going to win.
pretty much.
Pretty
much. But it was such a better movie.
Yeah.
Such a better movie. I don't. It wasn't as good as Civil War still, but it was.
No, I mean, let's take it for what it is. It's still nowhere close to any of the Marvel films.
Well, Batman Superman theatrical cut was like a 5 out of 10 for me,
right.
and this was like a strong 7.58.
Look,
Look, Civil War is like
I'll give you a 6.57.
Civil War is like a 9.5, 10 for me. If they'd killed War Machine, it would have been a 10 because the movie would have had stakes.
Right.
Crippling him's not enough. You kill the guy. He fell from the sky. Kill him. Right.
Yeah. Let's be realistic.
Yeah. But 9.5 for Civil War. Whereas this Batman, I like literally this extended cut, dude. I have faith suddenly again that the Justice League movie won't be terrible.
I don't know, dude. Ezra Miller's still in it. Now, I did read that Ezra Miller's getting some great reviews on his scenes.
Okay.
I'm skeptical.
I'm very skeptical.
Everything I saw in Batman Superman looked terrible.
Well, his suit looked
It's
off.
awful.
Like
what the hell
when
is
he
that?
jumped through time to talk to
Yeah.
Bruce. That's the only other section I didn't think. I even though like from a directing standpoint, the nightmare sequence, it did not need to be in the movie.
No, it didn't make much
and it
sense.
slows. It really what it was is it felt like they needed an early second act action piece that they did not have.
Right.
So they like stuck that in there so you could get the sense of like the bigger picture, as it
Right,
were, like
right.
Batman's fears. But it's such a weird left turn that takes you away from the narrative that's already happening.
Yeah, I think it was really extraneous and unnecessary. It didn't really serve much purpose for me.
And not really. And it's one of the few like moments that I'm still like this still like
I think it was visually interesting.
sure.
They're like, what would look cool?
And that's-
Batman in the desert.
But that's great. Like what that would look cool.
Let's
but-
make that movie instead.
exactly.
Let's
like,
make it all a dream sequence.
from a narrative standpoint.
Let him wake up at the end, M. Night Shyamalan style. It's all good.
There's a lot of dreams of Batman in that movie.
There's a lot of freaking dreams. I'm like, dude, does he ever like not sleep?
It should
What's
be-
going on with
it should-
Batman?
Batman Begins with Dreams is what it should have been
He's
called.
narcolepsy man is what he is.
Narcolepsy man. But if you haven't checked it out, this special edition, it's 30 minutes longer.
It's an improvement. I will say that at the least. Now, 30 minutes is more than you think.
But you know what it is? It's an improvement in the same way that like the Two Towers, like the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers. When I saw that
I'll
in the
take your word
theaters,
for it.
you still have never seen.
I've never seen the extended cuts on the director's cuts on those.
Oh, you have to.
I know. I
I
just
have them all. You can borrow them if you want.
I don't know if I got that kind of time, dude.
Oh,
That's 9
Jesus
hours,
Christ.
man.
Actually, it's 12. But
That's 12 hours.
They're all fucking.
Oh, because the films are actually 3 hours each.
right. They had
So
another.
it's an extra hour.
Dude, but the Two Towers, they cut so much out of that film
Yeah.
that the narrative is a little disjointed in the movie version. It was
Yeah.
at the movies, it was my least favorite of the three. On the extended editions, on all of them, it's my favorite of the three.
Really?
It's the best of the three. So, but at the end,
Well, but my point was, 30 minutes, if you put in a 30-minute chunk of the film, that's one thing. But you've got 2 or 3 minutes sprinkled throughout the film.
right.
In 10 different places makes a huge difference.
It's all
in
plot.
the story.
Like they cut a shitload of plot.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like the
it's
running.
not fluff.
No, the running time on it was 2:25. And
They want to cut 30 minutes out. Cut the friggin' dream sequences out.
Well, they didn't cut any of the action out. Like that's the big
Right.
difference. Like people are gonna go into it. It's like, well, they're not adding any more action to these movies at all.
And that's what makes me kind of laugh because they were talking about we're going to put an R-rated cut of this movie together.
Well, it was more violent, definitely with the
It
branding
wasn't.
stuff.
Yeah, but come on.
That dude got shanked in jail. That's like one of the reasons that
All
R rating
right.
came around.
All right.
I mean, I think that would be the other problem too. I don't know that they could have released that R-rated into the theaters.
No.
So, and look,
I don't think we talked about that. That doesn't make any sense. Why are you making an R-rated Superman movie?
you shouldn't be, but
No.
you know,
You can make an R-rated Batman all you want.
It was a big improvement on what we had seen prior to that. A big improvement.
I actually enjoyed it.
I did too. I would watch it again.
I didn't enjoy as much the first theatrical cut. It was all right.
I walked out of the theater after seeing that movie going,
how am I going to see these other films?
Yeah, like I'm like this. If this is what I'm looking at, like Man of Steel had its issues.
I enjoyed that one too.
Yeah, I like Man of Steel, but I like it.
There's some problems in that film for sure.
Well, basically, like
anything with Lois is a problem.
No, I disagree. I think anything with his dad is an issue because like Jonathan Kent in the Zack Snyder Murderverse is he's kind of an a-hole, you know, and he's like, don't help people, son. Let those kids drown on that bus.
Right,
you know, it's like that's not very Superman-esque Superman.
No.
You know, but no, I definitely.
But as a dad, I relate to that. You know, it's like I don't want my kid to sacrifice herself for some random kid out there.
Yeah, but as Uncle Ben tells us, Chris, with great power comes great responsibility.
I understand that, but people are shit, and
well,
why are you gonna? I don't want you to die for them.
People are shit. I would agree with that.
They are, man.
I mean, if we
you can't even play your goddamn Pokemon Go without getting stabbed or robbed. Come on.
This is what I want to know. The guy that was wandering around in the park at 12:30 at night. Like, have we learned nothing? I think
you're in New York.
I think as my my buddy who's a cop told me,
he
Kansas. Don't fucking play Pokemon in the hood, right? like if you're gonna go and like play during the daytime, don't wander around at night in the hood playing Pokemon.
Don't go to Central Park at night. Like, I don't care if you're playing a Pokemon Go or not. That's like that's so stupid.
You can go at night, but don't wander to a group of people sitting. Like there was one dude got stabbed, but it's like he didn't die. His injuries were not life threatening, but they said he got stabbed by 9 people.
Right.
And you're like, so you came across a gang essentially.
Right.
Like Los Locos kick your ass, Los Locos kick your face. Kick your balls into outer space. Those guys fucked him up. So, it is what it is. But yeah, check out that Batman Superman Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. I ended up paying a lot more for it.
We heard that story. I've heard Frontier, though. I've heard they're like going to court and some such.
I have a new segment I'd like to introduce.
It's called
Why Frontier Sucks Balls This Week.
What happened now?
Oh, now my internet's dropping out. Like, I can't go on my iPad without like 3 minutes. The internet drops out. The Wi-Fi's gone. Yeah. So I got to keep turning off and turning on my Wi-Fi to get it to work.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it's shit.
Well, from what I understand, it's like
I want a refund on my shit.
The FCC has stepped up and been like, "What is your issue? Like, you had a perfectly good working cable company that you guys bought, and now it is falling apart. Like,
right?
What is going on?
What did you do?
Right?
Like Verizon was dope. I had a very little problem with Verizon.
So why did Verizon sell? Did anybody ever
money?
Okay, fair enough.
I thought for sure it was like Monopoly type thing because Verizon has become so big, but I think they just got it bought out.
Really?
They sold it off. 3 states, Texas, California, and like New Mexico. They sold them off.
Well, I mean, it happens.
It does. I remember Bell Telephone. You don't hear about them anymore.
No, you don't.
They're gone.
Well, I mean, it's just sort of the nature of the thing.
Yeah. But I'm not happy because I didn't get a say in it. So I got stuck with this shitty company, and now I can't. And oh, dude, are we going there? Can I go there now?
Do whatever you want.
You want to know what else has happened? I'm not wanting to get off on a rant here, but
we can rant if you want.
Okay, so on today's segment of Why Frontier Can Kiss My Asshole, I'm watching Entourage because I've never watched it. I just missed it. I must have been busy with college.
You
or something.
missed the whole series?
I missed it all.
It's so great.
I was busy with something. I must have been like when I started teaching or something. I don't know. But for some reason, I missed it.
I think it's when you got married. That's about the time when that show started.
Yeah, and I just, I had little kids and I couldn't make it happen. So I went back and I started watching it thinking, all right, I got time. It's summer. I need a show. What am I going to do? So forget it. Let's do it. I watch about 5 or 6 episodes, and then I realize episode 7's not in the list for my on-demand. Like, where the hell's episode 7?
From what season?
Like, every season, there are episodes missing. So thank God they had last week on Entourage at the beginning of every episode.
So you have a clue what the fuck is going on.
Well, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, they left me on a cliffhanger. I want to know what's going on. Oh, guess what? I don't get to watch how that plays out because that's the like 2 or 3 episodes per season we're missing.
Okay.
Also, there are some that give you the option playing an SD or an HD. Some of them only have the HD version. Some of them only have the SD version.
Okay.
So all of the HD versions, like maybe a third of them, they'll stop playing in the middle of the episode.
Oh, no.
They'll like start digital glitching.
Oh,
So-
no.
I'm losing like a third of the episodes for each season. So I'm going to probably go back and buy them because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. But I've missed like a third of the series. So,
Ouch.
Yeah, I was pissed.
From every scene?
From every season.
Oh.
I'm missing like a third of the episodes.
Yeah.
Now again, not every episode is earth-shattering. There are things that play out over several episodes. Fine, I was able to follow what was going on because of the recaps. But I know there are things that I missed that were hilarious.
Yeah.
Because every episode had gold in it. You know.
I would say the early seasons were definitely that way.
I still enjoyed when they got dark. You know.
The dark season 6, the dark season was when he like gets into drugs or whatever.
Yeah,
it
he
was.
starts dating a porn star.
Like that was kind of a off the rails a little bit. But you did have Turtle and his vodka company that season, which is fun.
Right, and that was good.
Season 8 though is like, as a big Entourage fan, and I fucking love that show. It was like one of my most disappointing things I've ever watched.
See, I didn't mind it.
The problem with it is it basically tread no new ground except for Ari. Nobody else tread new ground.
But the Ari stuff was so important.
But the problem is literally the end of the season ends exactly the way that season 7 ended.
Which is what?
Which is everybody getting on a plane,
Oh,
happily back together, flying into the... It was like
Right.
you spent a season... You spent 3 episodes or 2 episodes breaking everybody down to rebuild
Right.
everybody back up for 6 or 7 episodes.
Right.
To put us on the plane again at the end of season 8.
Yes, but I will say this: my favorite character on the entire show is Ari.
Oh, really? I'm a drama fan. Johnny Drama.
I like Johnny Drama.
makes me laugh.
And here's the thing: I think Entourage is the story of Johnny Drama.
You think so? Really?
I think so 100%.
You don't think it's Vinny Chase's story?
I do not. And
Really?
I thought that all the way up until the very end of the movie. Did you see the movie?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, now I'm not spoiling anything because it's been a couple years since the movie came out.
It came out last year, actually.
Okay, so if you haven't seen it yet, fuck you. You should have watched it. You're like me. You should have watched it. At the end of the movie, before you get to the after credit scene, Johnny
what
Drama,
was the after credit scene?
the wedding, which was also
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But Johnny Drama finally gets his moment.
Yes.
He finally gets the accolades that you were hoping he would get all along.
And they weren't Viking Quest accolades.
It wasn't Viking Quest. But that moment,
Right.
like he gets up there and it was so unexpected and he just had given up. He was still fighting, but I think inside he was like, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
You know, he had been beat down for, oh my God.
And shit on by everybody
like
for
10
8 seasons.
years of getting shit on by everybody. And in the movie, he gets caught like doing, like jerking off on the internet. So at that point, you're like, God damn,
You're
this
all poor
dude.
drama, dude. Poor
Like,
drama.
Everything. And he'd gone through, like, he's not attractive enough to be in TV. So
Yeah.
he's an animated feature now. So for me, that moment, like, I got choked up. I was like so invested because I had binged this whole thing.
Right.
Like 8 years worth of show. And to see him finally have that moment where he was just like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know how to even process this. And then the only thing he says is victory. You know, he does his Viking quest. It was just like, it was gold. And I think for that reason alone, the whole arc of those 8 seasons in the 2-hour movie, it's Johnny Drama's story.
I'll give you that. He does end up with the best arc at the end of the day.
He really does.
Because
Vince doesn't go anywhere.
Not really. He treads water quite a bit, actually.
He grows a little bit as a person, but not really.
Not really.
He ends up at the end where he started.
Turtle's sort of the same way.
Kind of.
Because he finds himself, but he really doesn't. So,
He's still kind of that stupid kid who's a millionaire driving around the movie star.
which I mean, at a certain point, there.
He doesn't grow at all either.
No,
In fact, he devolves.
would you say so?
He's a bigger asshole at the end of the series than he was at the beginning.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I mean,
give you that.
he still gets the girl.
Boy, does he ever!
Yeah.
Like he fucking won the short guy lottery on that one.
Right.
Like that. That actress that plays Sloane is easily one of the most beautiful people on the planet,
pretty,
dude.
Pretty. Yeah.
Right?
I can't even think of the word. She's definitely yes.
It's like slap your
Good
mama
stuff.
hot. That's what
Good
that is,
stuff.
dude.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Well,
And I was so tired of their story.
what would you, if you were going to, especially not watch it on Frontier, would you encourage people to start with the movie? Or
No. You can't watch the movie first.
Okay.
The payoff, it's kind of like watching Serenity first.
Yeah, because then you like suddenly Wash is dead,
Right.
and you're like, ugh. Like,
And that's how I did that series because I didn't know about Firefly.
ugh.
I missed it.
Well, the rest of us, when we watched it on TV, watched all the episodes out of order, so don't feel bad.
Right.
Because Fox,
And you missed
Fox
4
screwed us.
episodes or something.
The brilliance of that, everybody that's watched it on DVD or on Blu-ray or whatever
Yeah.
you watch, it's like you watch it and you're like, oh, this show's brilliant. How did this
Right.
not last? And then when you go back and when I remember it, like we didn't see the pilot. The pilot was literally the last thing we saw.
Really?
Yeah, that's how out of order they showed it.
That was so stupid.
They opened up with the premiere episode was the train robbery,
wow.
and so the last
I
two,
remember seeing that. Yeah.
and then 2 episodes they never aired. They never aired Jane's Hat.
Yeah.
Never
Which is like iconic at this point.
Right,
Go to Comic-Con. Go to any comic convention.
and you'll see Jane's
You'll
Hat.
see it everywhere.
Yeah. They never aired that episode, and then
So
there
stupid.
was one other one.
Well,
that they
and
never-
that's, for me, that is Entourage. They show you how fucking stupid Hollywood is.
fair enough.
How, like, idiotic the people in charge are.
Right.
Like, they don't get it. And especially with the movie where Vince makes this brilliant film. Drama is great in it. I mean, we don't get to actually see it, but
Right.
through the story we find out. And they want to shut it down because the money man's son didn't get the girl he wanted. So he gets back at Vince.
But how great was
Haley
Joel Osment?
He was brilliant, dude.
But he's like, you're like, why? Like you turned into a little troll.
He is, huh? Yeah.
But he's a good actor.
I told Kara, I'm like, you know who that is? And she's like, no. And I told her who she was. She, ooh, that's sad. Oh, that poor
It
guy.
did not turn out well for him.
No. You know what? He saw dead people and it went all down from there.
Apparently, it stunted his growth as well.
You know what? He was really good, and he's good in everything he's in.
I would agree with that.
You know, he's just not. He's the Johnny Drama of real life. You know, he's good, but he's just kind of not good to look at. Put him in an animated feature.
He would be great in an animated feature.
Right.
So
And Dice was pretty good. Infuriating though.
a little bit, right?
Like I loved, even with the movie, it was kind of like what I was talking about with Roadies, where you get these cameos that are totally gratuitous. It's like, why are these people in here? Like the Ronda Rousey thing. Come on. That thing was stupid. It was just for a chance to show her off and to, watch her get in the ring and beat up Turtle. Like that whole storyline was dumb to me.
Pretty much.
Like, why are we doing this?
She's also a terrible actor.
Terrible.
Like when she was
not one line was believable.
There was a hot minute where they were like, she could be a great Captain Marvel, and I'm all no. If Captain Marvel was a mute with no lines,
right?
Then sure. But
yeah. No, and there were several moments like that. I did like seeing Marky Mark in there,
right?
Even though he was the producer on the show and on the movie, it was nice to see him in there because he wasn't playing something cheesy. He was just this dude who is always around.
Yeah.
You keep running into him.
They say hi to your mom for me.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah. There were a few other cameos that I thought were a little gratuitous. I didn't really dig the porn star thing at first.
Well, she was on the
But she really was a porn star.
Right.
Yeah. At first, that kind of was like, come on, this is sort of cliche.
A little bit.
But I figure it's cliche for a reason.
It was like you felt like I'm living Charlie Sheen's life. Right. Here we go. Good times.
And I think it was topical. And I think looking back on it, I'm like, that had to happen.
Right.
You have to go when you hit that success like that. you have to go off the rails a little bit.
I think when you get super rich, like if you don't have people to ground you,
Right.
I can only imagine how fucking batshit crazy I would have been in my 20s.
Right. And that's the thing, they're not experienced. They're in their 20s, maybe early 30s by the time you get to the movie.
Right, but it's like they're still supposed to be very young, you know?
Right.
And it's like when you give people too much money, like they go a little nuts. And people that are like artistic that have money, and I do too. And you're like, it's like one of those things where you're like, sometimes they're very normal, but it definitely skews the worldview, man. Like it's like suddenly you're like, oh, this makes sense why, you know, why fucking Michael Jackson would build a amusement park in his house. You're like, oh, I have all the money in the world to do anything I want, you know? Like, why not? It's like suddenly you're like, well, because you look like a pedophile, you dumbass. Right. You know, you're luring children to come spend the night. You don't do that. You know?
No. I do think, you know, a lot of people hate on the movie. I think the movie for me was 100% necessary for the same reason that Serenity was necessary.
I feel like the reason people hate on the movie is because
it just wraps everything up for me.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's like it's also you're distributing something that wasn't seen by a huge audience to a wider audience, and it's getting reviewed by people.
But it really wasn't a wider audience. I looked that up because I wanted to see if it was successful or not because I don't remember. They had a smaller bump in the amount of people who watched it, but it wasn't like Sex and the City.
No.
It went 10 times their audience size for the movie.
Right, but what I'm saying is I think that what you have people that did not watch the show that are reviewing this movie.
Right.
And they're like, these guys are misogynists, and it's like, that's
You
kind of
don't
what
get
the
it.
show was about.
Yeah.
It's about these guys being guys, you know?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it's like, guys, that's how guys are.
Right. And I think that's something that resonated with me because I remember going and hanging out with you guys, and you know we would have like the beer miss parties and all that stuff, and that's kind of where we were.
Right.
You know, we were the guys who went to the Derby on a Wednesday night to go swing dance to Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, just like in Swingers. I mean, we did that shit. So I totally related to a lot of where they were because I was there at that time too. Is it a dated concept? Maybe a little bit, but I think there were some of the consequences. You know, you had the scares of whether or not somebody was pregnant or was, you know, that little thing where they ambushed E.
Right.
You know, that he had a disease and one girl was pregnant. It turns out they were friends or roommates or something. I mean, those things are real. You know, I think that was nice that they didn't shy away from.
I think pregnancy scares are fantastic.
Oh, it's great drama.
I remember many of them in my.
Yeah.
There was nothing worse than having a girl call you and be like, "Hey," and you're like, "What? What's your name again?"
Yeah.
Wait, who are you?
Where did I meet you?
There was so many moments in the show that I've lived.
Right.
Where it's like the moment when E was dating multiple girls at the same time, and they all found out about each other. I totally had that happen to me. Like, and it's the worst moment ever.
It's pretty horrible.
Especially when you're trying to keep it all. It's like being a master juggler at a certain point.
Right.
You know, and you're like, and because it may seem like Steve is the coolest guy in the room, but the truth of the matter is Steve's kind of been married since he was like young, you know, to Jen. He never had that prolific dating period in his life. So
and I didn't early on either. It wasn't until I hit like the age that these characters are that I just kind of left a lot of the
pre-marriage. There was a period of time.
No, that's
of
what
about
I'm saying.
5 years where it was pretty prolific for you.
Yeah,
so.
no, and then that's it. I was a little older. I was in my mid to late 20s.
Mine was mid 20s, man. Like,
and you know what? I sampled the world, and I'm glad I did. I don't miss it.
No,
because I'm good now. That was a lot of work.
It was expensive too.
It was expensive, and it was hard keeping it all straight and remembering who you took where.
Names. I'm fucking terrible with names. And at a certain point,
God.
There were literally dates that I went on that I'm all.
Who are you again?
Trying to like you have that moment like I've and then in a world before smartphones, like I use Facebook as a memory tool to help me remember people's fucking names at a certain point.
Exactly. It's like you look familiar, but I'm not sure where I know you from. It's like, yeah, we dated for 6 months. You know,
you're all we did.
We did.
I don't recall that.
Well, I mean, dating is such a loose term. I mean,
yeah, like we went out once or twice. All right, cool. I had a girl that I forgot I went out with.
Yeah.
And we were talking and I was like, how come we never went out? And she was like, we did. And I'm all like, more than once? She goes, yeah. And I was like, oh, Well, good for us.
Yeah, it was memorable.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
So yeah, I mean, I'm really like 10 years late to this party, but I'm
That's
glad
your
I
second
finally
chance
arrived.
TV show? Is
That's
Entourage?
definitely the second chance TV show for me.
Nice, man. Nice.
And the movie was good. I don't care what anybody says.
I think
it was crucial.
It's funny because summertime we slow down so much with like new TV shows.
Right.
So I just went back and rewatched Deadwood.
That was next on my list.
Oh,
Don't spoil anything.
Have you never watched Deadwood?
My dad talks about it all the time.
Well, Deadwood holds the record for a number of times that they've said fuck in a series.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
So all totaled, they said fuck 2,890 times in 36 hours of Deadwood.
Wow.
An average of one every 1.6 seconds.
What?
Or some god awful number
But there's
like that.
no way that fuck was that prolific or that.
It's part of the language of the show. Like when you watch the show, you'll understand.
Right.
Like the way these people talk, it's almost Shakespearean, like in its melodic tones, and the way that it's people like the writing is very crisp on the show, but it's also like fucking brutal. This show is brutal.
That's what I heard.
Well,
I can't watch it with Phoebe in the room for sure.
No, you cannot.
Now she was in the room a few times for the Entourage, which there were times like pause. You can't be here for this.
Some of the nude parties and such. Yeah.
Yeah, or like they would get pretty detailed in what they would describe, and I'm like, honey, you got to go play on the iPad or something.
Right,
this
right.
is not for you.
Maybe it was like 1.6 a minute or something like that. I think that sounds more.
That sounds more
like not a second. Like that'd be insane. But they're like fuck.
That's about right.
But
yeah, that's on my list. So
Okay.
it's only 3 seasons.
Yeah, and like the problem is the end of the 3rd season, it just ends because there was supposed to be a 4th season.
Oh,
and
no.
they never picked up the 4th
Maybe
season.
I don't want to do it then.
No, do it. Like it's such a good journey.
Yeah, but I don't want to get like left unfulfilled.
It's so good. It's like Firefly, where you're just like, it's so good you have to watch it.
I don't know, man. Honestly, it's been an emotional ride dealing with the 9
with
or
Entourage?
8 years of Entourage plus the movie. That
Yeah, but you only have like literally with Entourage, they were only a half an hour.
I know.
So at the
I'm
end of
so bummed
at
about
the end of
that.
8 seasons, you still only watched 40 hours of Entourage, which is
Right.
what you're gonna watch at Deadwood.
Right.
It's a good watch, dude. But especially because watching, I've learned a number of Chinese words from some of the Chinese characters, especially Mr. Wu, and the term fucking cocksucker is like, but some really fucking great characters and such. All right, man. I think we should probably wrap it up right there. We hit about an hour, 65 minutes. This is a little taste of something mid-month here, and we'll come back with some stuff after Comic-Con next week.
Just real quick, before we wrap things up, I posted it on the Facebook. I had somebody do my first fan art for Grace, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a young kid who lives out kind of where I am, and he picked up a copy, found it in the local area comic book shop, and just loved it enough to do his own version of the character, and it's better than mine. So definitely take a look on the Facebook page. I posted it up there. It's kick-ass, and I'm gonna try and talk to this kid. I would love to collaborate with him. He's very much into the anime style, which is not my experience, but I think it would be cool to collaborate with some local artists like that. So anyway, big love to you. Thanks for
nice,
it.
man. That's a good shout out. So I think that's all we got for this week. The only dumb shit, I took my kid to Disneyland. And he apparently is a roller coaster fiend. My 40 and a half inch 4-year-old has more
barely
balls.
making it on.
Dude, he is like, we got measured every time.
Of
and
course.
every time.
He's little.
He's tiny, dude. And we went on Space Mountain. We went on Splash
Damn.
Mountain. He went on the Tower of Terror.
And he's how old?
He's 4.
Damn. See, that's a little bit younger than when I took Phoebe.
Oh, dude.
Maybe no, she was a little older. She was probably like 6.
No fear. Big Thunder Mountain,
nutty.
but you know what? I asked him at the end of the day, what was your favorite ride? The monorail. The monorail was his favorite ride.
That's
dude,
unexpected.
well, dude, he loves trains. Kid loves trains, and so the
Oh.
concept of like, he's like, it's monorail. I love the monorail. It's so neat.
Wow.
But he's never been on a real train, like ridden on a real. He's been inside.
What are you like raising Sheldon over here?
He loves trains, dude. The kid loves trains. Like we go down to the train yard and just watch the train sometimes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but totally all the roller coasters, and you get off the roller coaster and he'd look at me and he goes, "Let's go again. Let's go. What's next?"
Yeah, I tried that with kid, and she was about 6, and I took her on Space Mountain. I told it's cool, it's easy, it's not that big a deal, it doesn't go that fast. And we went to the pizza port afterwards, and like no joke, she was catatonic for like 10 minutes.
Nice.
Like she stared and slightly trembled for about 10 minutes and didn't speak.
We got every line we were in. The people around us were like, "He's not scared," and I'm all, "Oh no," and they're like. Like he's not like
I tried. She was not. She don't like now. She wants to know the intensity rating for every ride.
like it's Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yes. And we were at Knott's the other day.
Yeah.
And every ride she asked like, okay, what's the intensity rating on this thing? We went on that little tower that goes like really slowly up, and it's like an observation tower, and it spins around a little bit.
She was tripping on that?
No, she before she would go on, it's like, what's the rating on this one? I'm like, honey, it moves like 2 miles per hour. It spins around really slowly so you can look, and then slowly comes back down. She's like, all right, well, it says it's a 2, so I probably could handle this one.
My buddy's like, oh, like, wow, he wasn't afraid? And I go, oh, my son's not a bitch like your son. And he's like, hey, and I'm like, oh, look, I'm just saying, like,
hey, let's keep it real. You know?
I go, look, like, there's certain things, like, my kid's a daredevil, but like, you put a fucking dog nearby, and suddenly he's like a little bitch about that. I go, but about rides at the amusement park, dude, he did not believe me that he could not go on California Screamin'. With the fucking loop. He was like, I want to go on that, Dad. And I'm like, well, you're not tall enough. But he goes, I am tall enough. And so we walked. It's 48 inches for that one.
Yeah.
We walked up. I go, well, measure yourself. And he's standing there, and he's not like by 7 inches.
Yeah.
We tried to go on. He wanted to go on the Goofy's Sky one, a California
Right.
Adventure. He's like an inch too short for that
You're
one.
kidding me, but he can go on Space Mountain?
He's 40 inches for Space Mountain, dude.
Wow.
So the Goofy Sky one, he gets up there, and the guy goes, all right, buddy, measure. And so the guy's not paying attention, and he's standing on his toes. And the guy goes, oh, he's good. I'm all, and I go, no, he's not. And I point down, and the guy goes, oh shit, I didn't even notice. And he's still standing up there. I'm all, he ain't tall enough for this one. He just don't believe
that
us.
ride's kind of a trip. Have you been on that?
Yeah, it's like a mouse coaster, dude. It's fun.
Yeah, but it like jerks you around.
Well, and that's why they don't want these kids like
he'd fly out.
Yeah, and that's it's only a lap
Now
bar.
for me, that's the problem is I'm too tall for that thing.
Oh yeah.
I tried going on a couple years ago, and it was the most uncomfortable ride I've ever been on. Like it's worse than the Nut Crusher. What do you call it? The Matterhorn.
The Nut Crusher.
Yeah, no, that ride. I don't go on that ride.
They redid the tracks though. It's not as bad as it used to
Dude,
be. Like
but you still got somebody sitting between your legs.
No. They redid the seats too.
Did they?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
like
maybe I'll
Splash
try.
Mountain now. Remember Splash Mountain used to ride between somebody's
Oh,
legs?
jeez.
It's all individual seats now.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool when you were like dating and single, but like,
when you're like with your buddies and you're like,
yeah, I wasn't doing that. I'm not sitting with you in this thing. I'm not doing it. I'll go by myself back
Dude,
here.
Splash Mountain, he loves Splash Mountain too. And then we rode on Pirates. We're like, oh, well, it's like we had a fast pass for another ride at the other park, and we were like, oh, it's 9:15, dude. Like, there's how Pirates the line's no line. The guy's like, yeah, just walk right in. We're like, cool. So we walk into Pirates. I did not realize that fucking ride is like 20 minutes long.
It's a long ride.
Like, and we got out at 9:45, and we literally, and I was like, well, we're not gonna make it to the other park. Like, we're on the backside of Disneyland.
Yeah.
Like, by the time they're not gonna let us in at 9:55. Like,
Yeah.
they're just not. You know. And it was just funny because we both were sitting there going, if I had remembered that this ride was 20 minutes long, I don't know
The
that we
ride's
would.
dope though, dude.
It is.
I mean, it's basically a small world with pirates.
It kind of is,
Yeah.
you know, and it has all the funs of that you want to teach your children about, like being sold into sex slavery.
Yeah, they changed that up. Oh no, they didn't.
They
still have
like
that
we want the
bio-wench.
red, we want the, and then rape. It's like ISIS the ride. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
We want the redhead.
So it's just funny because it's like they added in like all the like Barbossa's in there, and Johnny Depp's like floating around the fucking ride all over
Now,
the place.
I was
now.
sort of irritated that they rewrote history a little bit and they gave all the women the food. When the men are chasing them?
Right.
Because they're hungry. That's what it is.
Although at the top, if you look at the top, in fact, they've moved all the men chasing the women to the real far ones. There's one where it's like the heavy set. Still the fat lady's chasing the guy who's stolen the food. And then the other one is like the good looking girl's chasing the guy, but she's got like a rolling pin or some bullshit like that.
Right.
It's like, well, the guys can't chase the girls because that's too rapey, you know?
Yeah, it's a little rapey.
They should do one where it's like Bill Cosby. And
right.
He's chasing like
He's
with
roofing,
a martini glass.
Yeah, here
like,
you go. Have this. Drink.
We want the red.
Yeah, but it's okay for the guy to have sex with the pig down in the mud, right?
Oh, he's gonna totally fuck that pig.
That pig's getting it tonight. And he does say, "Here, piggy." He does.
I assume it's gonna be a situation where he humps the pig, but
the pig's getting laid. That's all there is.
You
to
think
it.
so?
He's making bacon. That's all I'm saying. That pig's getting it tonight.
All right. Well, we were gonna end it 10 minutes ago, but we got into some side quest in there. So let's just finish it up right there. I hope you guys have enjoyed tonight's episode. Once again, I am Ron Milts,
Steve Hale,
and I am Chris Thayer. And
it's weird not having a third.
It was fun tonight, though.
No, it was good.
We did not argue at all.
We didn't argue.
We made it a point to not.
We agreed on most things.
We just went.
At one point, you wandered off, and I was vamping by myself on something I had no idea about.
Well, every once in a while, the child is here with just the adults, and he is pretty self-contained. But his movie had come to an end.
You know what? That's kind of it. He needs an iPad.
Well, here's the thing.
Then you'll never have to.
It's
talk
a digital
to him again.
movie, and the Peanuts movie is followed on the list by a rated R violent movie, and so anytime it stops, I have to go immediately and.
Right. What's the R movie?
I don't know. It's something he shouldn't be watching, though.
Well, yeah.
It's like Resident Evil or some shit like that.
You know,
I'm like,
I've been a little lax.
By the way, this is the second episode in a row that we wrapped it up and then continued talking.
I've been a little lax with letting the Phoebes watch things. Like she's 10. She's been watching The Walking Dead.
Oh, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at 10.
She watched a lot of Entourage, if we're being totally honest.
She's got to learn about strippers and blow at an early age.
I sheltered her from a lot of that stuff, but
Okay.
there's some definite strong language. I will say this. Super Troopers came on today, and
did you forget about parts of it?
when Farva walks up and says, "I'll call him a chicken fucker for $20," I paused and said, "You know what? Probably not ready for this one either."
Wait. The part when they're having sex with the Germans was fine, but like
she wasn't in the room for
Oh,
that.
okay. All right.
She wasn't in the room for that.
All right.
But yeah, that's a little much. She wanted to watch Game of Thrones.
No.
That wasn't happening. However, she did come into the room with the Battle of the Bastards episode, which did not have, it had some violence, but there wasn't anything in there that was beyond Walking Dead level.
Fair
violence.
enough.
So she saw that part of that.
Okay.
The last two episodes, there wasn't really anything that was too terrible.
There was no flaying of people. How's that?
No, it wasn't too bad.
All right.
But she's not watching the rest of that next year.
All right, good times. All right, well, let's wrap this up again. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. Once again, I'm Ramsey Bolton.
Todd Pemble.
I want to have very strong hands, and we hope you're having a nerd life crisis. Music for the Nerdlife Crisis podcast is provided by Big Papa and the TCB. All music available at bptcb.com or at iTunes. The Nerdlife Crisis is recorded at the Inland Blue Studios. Make sure to subscribe to the Nerdlife Crisis at iTunes and like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram or Twitter at Nerdlife Crisis.